if you truly believe in what you can provide for your patients, then you're not afraid of convincing this patient to come see you and maybe make a little bit greater financial investment because you know you're going to provide greater value on the back end. So you have to believe that, and your team has to believe it, and you have to say it out loud, and you got to spell it out for them. Whether you are fee for service or you take every insurance possible, it doesn't matter. The conversation still needs to be directed away from an insurance-based decision and back to a quality healthcare-oriented decision.
I'm here with Dr. Brown from Brown, Gettings, and Gade. He is part of our clinical advisory board, and he is here to help answer one of the common questions that we get. So we are primarily, we work with fee-for-service practices, but we do have some practices that take some insurance. But the vast majority of our clients are either fee-for-service or they just take a minimum. And lucky for you, Dr. Brown is actually the expert in this, and I'll do a quick plug for you, Dr. Brown. Not only is he a practicing dentist, but he is the Freedom Dental coach, and this is his gig. Like this is his thing about going from an insurance-based practice to a fee-for-service and getting rid of the insurance in your practice. So this question kind of hits home probably for him a bit more, but this takes it to the next level. So it's not just, this question is not related to getting rid of insurance, but when you do, how do you answer the most common objection or question when new patients, so this is new patients, not your existing patients. This could apply to some existing patients, but your new patients that are calling, whether they're calling as a referral from another doctor, word of mouth, or marketing. Most of them would be calling from marketing. As you ramp up your marketing or as you're more aggressive, you get more callers that are unfamiliar with you. So even people that are word of mouth, if I tell my best friend to go see Dr. Brown, I may not have mentioned he's out of network, but most of the time I probably would, right? So those callers, they're a little bit prime. So this is primarily the people that are unfamiliar with your practice. So they call and they say, your person at the front desk answers the phone. Hi, this is Jackie with X practice. And the caller says, hey, do you take Aetna? Do you take Blue Cross Blue Shield? And oftentimes, and we say this because we know we hear thousands of calls a month. Most of the time, I shouldn't say all, but most of the time, it is a natural reaction for someone at the front desk to say, we're not in network, or we don't take Delta. That's literally the first thing that they reply with, and that's natural. And I'll pause here because I want to defend the people at the front desk, because this is really important to me. We are, myself and Dr. Brown, understand that the people at the front desk answering the phones, number one, I guarantee they're probably a bit overworked. They're getting lots of these calls. They're handling a lot of different things. It's fair for them to just want to say, no, we don't take your insurance, and roll and assume that, hey, that's not the right patient for us. Roll with it. It's the path of least resistance to answer it that way. We get it. I want to say that. But it's not an excuse to not address that question properly. And when I say properly, and before Dr. Brown kind of shares his thoughts, what he thinks, and maybe he tells me, Jackie, no, like this isn't the right way to go. I feel like we're on the same page, but take a step back, take control of the call. So it is not uncommon for that person to ask that the first thing out of their mouth, or maybe they ask a few things and then they ask that question. Regardless of where this is, there's a proper way to handle it. So if they ask that initially, it is our suggestion, because we hear some practices that nail this, that really nail it. So I'm talking from experience, not from within the marketing agency, but from hearing these calls. The practices that nail it, they take control of that call. So they say, hey, happy to answer that. We don't want to elude. We don't want to say, that we're not going to answer it and skirt it. Happy to answer that. Did I get your name? What's your name? So simple, right? Just like I said, the call was, hey, do you take my insurance? We haven't even exchanged pleasantries yet. But that is a common thing we hear. So doing that, number one, brings down like a little bit of a barrier, right? So now you're talking human to human. You're not just answering, no, we don't take Delta. Unfortunately, we don't take Delta. Even if you have the best response, sometimes just building that little bit of rapport first, like, hey, may I ask who I'm speaking with? Oh, I'm sorry. This is Lee Brown. Great, Lee. And then you start asking, and I don't know all these questions, so Dr. Brown could probably jump in here, but start asking a couple questions before you go into the insurance. Hey, what made you call today? Are you in pain? Can I thank someone for referring you? Right? All of these things are building that little bit of rapport before we just shut them down. Because you know what? I know I'm rambling on here. I see this no different than, and a lot of people can relate to this. If you have kids and you need to find a pediatrician, it is it is probably assumed, and Dr. Brown, I would imagine, with your boys, that they're going to take your insurance. You're not probably trying to find an out of network. It's not the norm. You're most likely assuming that the pediatrician that you when exiting the hospital is going to take your insurance or to some degree. But there are pediatricians out there that are out of network, and there's more of them now, and it's the same for dental, but it's not the norm. Consumers don't know this. Even premium patients. You can have someone making $500,000 a year that is the right patient for you. They're trained to ask, do you take insurance? They have no idea what it means to go out of network and go to a real quality practice. It's becoming more of the norm, but it's not what everybody thinks immediately. Like, oh, I'm going to pay out of pocket. Well, no, they have dental insurance. They want to use it. All right, I'm done rambling. Tell me your thoughts, Dr. Brown.
This is so good, and you can feel your energy and passion for this, Jackie, because you see it, you get it, you understand the benefits of practices when they handle this the right way versus when they're kind of struggling with it. And the end result is the better we help these initial conversations, the more people we get a chance to help, and we get a chance to get them healthy. And it starts with the mindset of the doctors and the team. They have to understand that if you truly believe in what you can provide for your patients, then you're not afraid of convincing this patient to come see you and maybe make a little bit greater financial investment because you know you're going to provide greater value on the back end. So you have to believe that, and your team has to believe it, and you have to say it out loud, and you got to spell it out for them, right? I've got patients that come in all the time that want something redone or a second opinion, and you know what's more expensive than coming to us? The first time is having to go somewhere first, pay for it, and then you come get it done from us the right way. And that's kind of the way we believe and feel. But it starts with that mindset. But Jackie nailed it. The first phone call, look, everybody, including myself, I'm thinking when we call the doctor's office, like, how much is this going to cost me? Like, what's my investment here? Do you take my insurance? So you have to anticipate and expect every patient in some way, shape, or form is going to have that question, have that concern. So it shouldn't be a shock if that's the first question out of their mouth. If they don't do that, well, awesome, but you got to be ready. So Jackie nailed it. Like, pick up the phone. Do you take my insurance? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you called. Who do I have the pleasure of speaking with? Oh, this is Jackie. But do you guys take my insurance? You know what? Absolutely. Going to get to that. Can I get your name and number just in case we get disconnected? I want to make sure we get reconnected because sometimes service is bad. Boom. Then they come back to it. You just have two or three different ways that each person can fire off right away. We're not dodging the question. I want to be transparent. Our team does, but you have to be prepared for it and you have to rep it out for a while. And we go back to it from time to time whenever we see our team kind of struggling. And Jackie, thank you so much for your guys' help because you help make us aware when the calls aren't going as well. There was a month straight where I would just randomly call the practice, whether I was in my office or I was at home, and they knew it was me calling, and I would give them three quick objections right in a row. It's all related to insurance and how do we handle those. So you have to practice it. You have to expect it, but you have to believe in what you're doing. You got to start with that. So I hope I answered your question. Like you, I'm so passionate about it because we're living it every day. But whether you are fee for service or you take every insurance possible, it doesn't matter. The conversation still needs to be directed away from an insurance based decision and back to a quality healthcare oriented decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then I'll tie this kind of in a bow here. And I love how you said you guys have to believe it. Practice will ask us, well, then how do we answer that question? You have to get language and messaging that feels good to you. And we have a base. Like we know, like I told you, there are some practices that nail this question. But then when it comes around to answering that, we need to build that trust and rapport first. But then we have to tell them what makes you unique and why it matters to go out of network. Because 6 years ago when my daughter was born, I wouldn't have known why it mattered to go out of network for a pediatrician. I mean, I do now. I do now. I learned the hard way. But you don't know the difference. So the same with dental care. Tell me the difference. What does it mean that I'm paying out of pocket and why? And reassure me that I'm not alone, because that's a big one. That yes, we actually have a lot of, patients that have Blue Cross Blue Shield, have Delta, Aetna, a lot of people like you. And then explain what it means to be on a network and how you help them, maybe process the paperwork. Or maybe some practices don't, but if you do, reassure them that, hey, this is how this works. This is why patients choose to see Dr. Brown, Gettings or Gade. And it's important that, bop, 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 right? And you have that messaging, and it doesn't need to be robotic. It doesn't need to be rehearsed, but you kind of have to have the nuts and bolts of it in your head. And then the team can massage it to what makes them the most confident when saying it.
Nailed it. That's it, that confidence, that authenticity. That's what is going to come through the phone in spades. And if you really want to go advanced techniques with this, put a little mirror next to the computer monitor and challenge your team to be smiling, and they can physically see their energy as they're talking, and that comes through on the phone. It's just kind of a little hack there, but it helps train us along the way.
Awesome. Last question I'll ask you on this, and then we'll be done. You agree that premium patients are calling asking that question, right? Because I feel like that's an uphill battle, is that, no premium patient, no quality patient, type A patient, they're not asking those questions. So could you be turning down, by shutting that conversation down, could you be turning away good opportunity?
100%. We see it all the time. You don't know when the phone number rings who that person is or what they make or what their mindset is, but it's normal. It's natural. I got to tell you, I don't walk into anywhere and go up to the counter without understanding what I'm going to pay for something, right? And like with insurance, everybody's been trained through the medical system, in network, out of network, right? We just understand that it's normal. Don't, it should get to the point where your heart rate doesn't go up. You should become excited that you get to offer a great response, a great answer to these patients. And that's how you're going to help them. But everybody's going to ask, from the person that's millionaire, billionaire, whatever, to the person that's maybe just getting started off in life. So just anticipate it and you'll do great.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you for helping me talk through this.